Kings of War Battle Report, Forces of the Abyss versus Night-Stalkers. This is against the legendary Jeffrey Traish of Australia. This is our second game. I am a casually competitive gamer, and I make concise battle reports that focus on tactical takeaways to improve our game. Welcome to Newbie Dice. So welcome back. So this is our second game, me and Jeff. So we also had the first game, so if you haven't watched that, you can watch that first. I'll link it up in the cards above. And so on to our list. My list is unchanged from the previous game, and he brought out his No Mercy Night-Stalkers list. So let's break it down. If you want to check the breakdown of my list, you can watch the previous video, but let's break down his list. So first thing that stands out is the 3 regiment of Phantoms. I really like the Phantoms because also in the last Clash of Kings buff, it's up to 15 attacks. It is speed 10 flying and defense 5, high nerf, less than 200 points. It has shambling, so Night-Stalkers has access to search, which Abyssals does not. So I like to compare it with my Tortured Souls because we have 3 of each and they're both flying units. So for the extra 40 points that he's paid for, he loses 1 TC, but he gains 1 defense, 6 more attacks, 1 more nerf, and it has a potential of search, so which is quite a great deal in my opinion. So while I can understand why he brought 3 of it, and to support that he has search from the Butcher Flesh Reaper. So this is quite cool. It is a kind of a hybrid unit. It has 4 attacks, so it can sort of fight. Crushing 2 comes stock with search 3, which is just enough if you're just going for the flank search. After you move 10 and pivot twice to the opponent's flank, you just need 1 inch to go in. Okay, so he bring one with weakness and the other one with blizzard. So he has 2 of them. Next, he has 2 regiment of Spectres. I also love Spectres. 14, 17, 10 attacks, piercing 1, range attack of 4, defense 3, but he has stealthy. So if you compare it to the Flame Bearers, what's the difference? Flame Bearers has regen, while Spectres has stealthy, which is better in a shoot-off. They have 1 extra nerf also, if I'm not wrong. Don't have the stat with me right now. And 1 extra speed. So all this add up to a very competitive regiment over here. Scarecrows, just a horde to block things. 2 Void Lurkers. I also love the Void Lurkers. For 260 points, you have a dragon character, which is very cheap. Its drawback is its defense 4, but to make up for that, it also has regen. It has no stealthy, so the weakness of Void Lurker is against an enemy with a lot of shooting, they can shoot him down. And being Night-Stalkers, you have no access to inspiring, so if you got shot down on your side, 1 roll might take you off. But you can't chip small damage at it because it was regen, so that's how Void Lurker works. He brought 2 of it, 1 with Blade of Slashing. So once again, the point cost compared to my Archfiend, even without Lightning Bolt, my Archfiend is 300 points, so he's 40 points less. And so he could afford to splurge on these spellcasters that you can call them a little bit more expensive, 130 and 140 points. Dreadfiend is also pretty cool, speed 8, so it's a large cavalry hero. He has nimble, so beware of the corkscrew charges. So 5 attacks, nothing to sneeze at. 3 melee 3+, crushing 2, and it has vicious, so it rerolls. So yeah, nothing to sneeze at. Let's go on to our deployment. So I started moving before I realized I forgot to take pictures. So my Tortured Souls were actually here, and my Abyssal Horsemen were next to it. So firstly, I deployed on the right side in this way, so sort of to be able to see this side in case his Void Lurker went this way to decide to go for a long roundabout maneuver. The scenario is push, so and we only wrote 1 token each. I put mine on the lava and he put his on this butcher over here. And I think he outdrops me. So I think once again, I mentioned this in my previous video that the most imbalanced part about my list, if you compare the left flank and the right flank, is the presence of the horsemen. So you can easily tell that whichever side my horseman is on is where I'm focusing more into. Okay, why I place my horseman on the right side is because I don't want to hit the obstacle on the left. So if he had his Dreadfiend up here, forcing my Abyssal Horseman to charge through the obstacle. I might not even route it. Yeah, 16 attacks, 8 hits, and you'll only be crushing 1, 3 to wound, so about 5 wounds. So that would not route a simple little Dread Fiend. So that's why I deployed my Horseman on the right side. His Spectres also went here, so his heavy shooting is here. So in this 2 lists, he has the better shooting because of his Spectres, right? I have Blizzard, he has Blizzard, I think Blizzard is the one on the right side. And then I have Lightning Bolt, which is 5 shots, while he has 2 Spectres, which is 20 shots. So he's 15 shots above me. I should be the one that moves forward more, which I kind of failed to realize, or sort of in my panic to defend against the shooters, I forgot to threaten him and be more aggressive. So I was playing very defensively, trying to get cover everywhere, and that was the mistake I made. I'll show you later on. So for himself, you can see that his Phantoms are spread out, pretty spread out, and Scarecrow's in the center, 1 Void Lurker on each side, and 1 Butcher on each side, 1 Spider, that's the Dread Fiend, on each side. Okay, so let's move on. So I decided to move cautiously. I didn't want my Abyssal Horsemen to be shot down. They were sharing the center of this lake here previously, and I realized that, oh, I can't get both into the lake. So in the end, I shifted the Tortured Souls into the lake, while my Horsemen got cover from the Tortured Souls instead. So that was why I deployed like this. And then I realized that my Horsemen will not be within 16 inch to charge the Spectres when they come up. So the Spectres are obviously going to come up and shoot at this unit, and I needed this Horseman to actually be able to threaten them, which I did not. So that was the first mistake I made of the game. Let's see what else happened. So everything shuffled out cautiously, and my strategy this game, why my Horseman was here, my strategy going into it was that I want to break from the right side and sweep to the left. So my left side is a little bit lighter in deployment, and I hope to delay as long as possible. So I'm trying to use the obstacle to delay. So that was my thought going in. Shooting wise, my Archfiend Lightning Bolt into the Spectres, which all missed. My Blizzard went into the Dread Fiend and I wavered it. No, I think I did not waver it this round. It's the next round. So once again, I advanced a little bit too cautiously. I should have positioned stuff to charge the Spectres once it come up and shoot at my Tortured Souls, which I didn't because I was trying to stay out of threat range, and I was afraid of my Archfiend getting shot at as well, so it stayed out of 23. I thought the threat range was 23, so but actually it's 24. But even if at 24, that means only 1 unit of Spectres could shoot at me, so that way my Archfiend wasn't charged at. So let's move on. This is bottom of 1. This Spectre shot at the Tortured Souls, this Spectre shot at the Horseman. So they dealt 1 and 3 respectively, which is pretty good rolls because this requires 6 to hit. Both require 6 to hit. You need to move forward and you need to shoot while both are in cover. And he did a brilliant move here. He moved this Void Lurker behind this obstacle. So it is protecting whatever's charging in, while he himself cannot be charged at the space. There's no landing space. None of my things can threaten him. So that was a very brilliant move over there. So this purple star represents weakness, so he weakened my Blizzard from here. This side postured a little bit. This one stayed back. This one stayed back. So seeing his Void Lurker and 2 Phantoms here, so I decided if as long as I can keep this standoff as long as I can, prevent him from interfering in the right side, it'd be a win for me. So that was what I was planning for. So turn 2. Firstly, nothing was in charge range except the Spectres. So that's exactly how you should play it if you have a superior shooting. So he stood there, and the way he positioned, it's saying, I'm gonna shoot you until you charge my Spectres, and that's the only thing you can do. And so that was what he did, and I went for it. I have to charge my Tortured Souls in, and then I position everything up to charge in once this Tortured Souls get hit. So all this went up in preparation. Lower Abyssals also went up, and it's out of this front up here, and this one can't see as well because of the heal. So it's positioned such that this left side wouldn't be able to support. And so yeah, they only have 10-inch threat, so I need to really keep moving it up. Protect. So this part decided to stay back and keep the standoff, so it actually backed up, everything backed up. Okay, at this point, this lava was only chargeable by 1 unit of Phantoms. This one cannot reach. Yeah, this one cannot reach. So sadly, wow, my Torture Souls only did 1 damage to the Spectres. So let's see what happened next. Luckily what happened was when he charged the Spectres in, it's 6 to hit anyway, and because my Torture Souls bounced off, his Void Lurker was actually in my front arc, so when he charged it, total only dealt 5 damage, and they bounced off. There was a picture, there was more movement after this. Actually, the FAQs says that all attackers must bounce back the same amount, so they will actually be on the same line. So what else happened? There was a lot of damage here. This Spectre shot here, and then the Blizzard also hit, so there's a total of 7 more damage, I think. I put 3 damage from the KOW to the Well of Souls, and then he dealt 7 more damage with 10 shots, and then the Blizzard. So that hurt pretty much, and because it's 4 to hit, so that would be 5 hits, and for the wounds. Yeah, so terrifying from the Spectres, I'm really taking massive damage. And notice that his Void Lurker figured out what's going on, so his Void Lurker started to fly 20-inch this way. And yeah, I think previous round I hit him with Blizzard again, so he took a total of 4 wounds and he was wavered, so he sort of backed up this way. Notice that the Scarecrows came up onto the hill. Why he did that is because he knew my lower Abyssals were coming forward. So to prevent my lower Abyssals from engaging the forces here, the Scarecrows are positioned such that once my lower Abyssals come forward, he will charge it. So that was what he did that side. This Dreadfiend on the left came up to finally say, okay, I'm gonna charge you if you're not gonna charge me. So it's threatening all these things over here. So let's see what happens next. So this is my everything in turn. So this Tortured Souls countercharged the Void Lurker and dealt 3 damage, and he healed 2 off from Life Leech, and there was a Spectre unit here. So I charged 3 heroes in, the Well of Souls, Archfiend, and Basusu was in the middle. So I managed to rout it because only the Archfiend was hindered. Probably average damage 4 hits and 4 wounds for the Archfiend. So that will be about 5 wounds from the Basusu, and then another 4 wounds from the Well of Souls. Yeah, and I routed. And so my Basusu decided to overrun forward to make space for the other 2 units to pivot. So this is where I have to be very cautious because the Surge shenanigans are there. His Phantoms can easily flank one of my monsters. I made a small mistake here, but in hindsight it didn't affect the game too heavily. So I decided to face this unit of Phantoms directly, and then I forgot to see that, oh, it's within flank of this Void Lurker on the left. Well, even if I decided to face this way, more towards this way, maybe something like this, he could easily do a Phantom flank Surge shenanigans on me, and I wouldn't be able to stop it. Because if I pivot more, then my base will be like this, and all he has to do is clip me out from here, I think. I'm not sure if Basusu will have blocked the way, so, well, that was a incorrect positioning. My Archfiend positioned this way to face that side, so that will be correct. And because of my Basusu being in this way, he couldn't get anything for sure to land here and charge me, to do the flank Surge shenanigans. The Horseman charged into this unit of Spectres, which already took 1 wound. Unfortunately, I did not take it out. So I did 10. Either wavered it or didn't even waver it. And you see that my top forces all decided to fly this way to start to support the right side. This one hung back so that it could still threaten all this to say, hey, there's still something here, you might want to stay here. So what happened in return? So as expected, these 2 units went into the Well of Souls and killed it. This this Void Lurker dealt more damage to the Tortured Souls, but still haven't killed it. The Dreadfiend from here did a flank charge, which hurts pretty much, plus the Spectres, but they're not going to do much anyway. So, but the 10 attacks from the flank, dealing 6, wow, that hurts. And so my lower Abyssals continued upwards in the previous round, so there's no way to block his Scarecrows, so his Scarecrows went into me. So dealing 7 damage was quite amazing. And you can see that his forces started to turn around. Weakness casted on Basusu, because you can see Basusu wreaking havoc. And what else? After that, I think our Blizzards just missed or failed to do damage for the rest of the game. So you can ignore Blizzard. Yeah, so my Archfiend was not attacked. So then this was where I was trying to look for opportunity. So the first thing was I wanted to charge this guy. But Jeff was so smart, he already blocked off. There was no landing spot for my Archfiend to charge at it. So he already saw it and he protected his Butcher with these 2 units. So I cannot land. He stayed exactly out of 20 inch from Basusu, so Basusu can't go in as well. So this is amazing play from his side. And so I didn't have much good options. So let's see what I did. So the center unit went for the flank charge. And my Basusu wasn't able to see because Basusu is only height 1, so I couldn't see. If I could have charged this unit in, then it could have finished it off. That would be amazing, but I couldn't see. So I decided to charge this in because at least I do a flank charge. That means he's probably not gonna kill, which is expected. But at least I'm gonna do enough damage so that I'm able to route it easier later. I'm not gonna get much flank chances all the time. So that's why I went with. So this Archfiend decided to flank rear charge the Scarecrows as well as the lower Abyssals. This Tortured Souls decided to charge the Spectres instead, as because the Horseman decided to charge the Dreadfiend. Yeah, so the Horseman charged the Dreadfiend. The Tortured Souls killed the Spectres, and then it backed up D3, it moved 3 inches back, and then, well, anyway, they're next to the Horseman, so the Horseman has very limited reform capability. It can either face the left side or the right side, so I decided to face the left side instead. So the Scarecrow down here got killed by these 2 units. I did a lucky regen, I regen quite a lot of wounds. So I dealt 7. Basusu, without much good targets, he decided to position for next round instead, so it flew over here, because this is where I suddenly turn around to face the left side instead, because I was already a little bit losing on attrition, so I needed to focus back on the scenario. My strategy of punching the right and swinging over to the left doesn't work anymore. I decided to ditch the right and suddenly concentrate on the left, so you can see this unit of Tortured Souls also coming forward. The Gargoyles are constantly trying to hide from Blizzard. Yeah, Blizzard is over here. And a nimble charge from this Dreadfiend, so he needed to stay back behind the lava. And the thing about Phantoms is they're height 1, so my Gargoyles can't see the Phantoms from behind the lava, which was very annoying for this game. Okay, next round. I think I tried to Blizzard the Dreadfiend because he's already injured. I was hoping to get a lucky waiver, but nothing. No Blizzard, didn't do anything. They double charged the Tortured Souls just to make sure it could kill, so a flank and a front. And then it repositioned in a way to protect the Butcher, so he was very cautious in protecting his Butcher from attacks. So this was what happened. The Butcher also dropped his token for safety and stood on top of it so that I couldn't take it until I killed them. So what else happened? The Horseman died. Yeah. So previous round, let's talk about this again. Why I decided to just ditch the right and swing hard to the left is because of both his Void Lurkers are facing other places. It's not facing the left, so the left is at least out of view from the Void Lurker, so which was why I swung around. Phantoms, and this Void Lurker killed the Horseman. This Void Lurker killed the Tortured Souls. Yeah, so all these are dead. And so this Void Lurker is facing this direction, and the Phantoms reform to face this direction as well. And this is just within the front arc of the lower Abyssals, so that's why he had to face it. A little bit lucky on my part for the reform after killing the Scarecrows. So what I did next was that I dove charge at this unit of the Phantoms, because that will be out of 20 inch from this. So I charge this way, so that will be out of 20 inch from this Void Lurker. Yeah, and I think I charged this one in as well, and I charged this Basusu in here, because after Basusu kills, he'll be behind the hill, nothing can see him. So that was the reason why I charged this way. The Dreadfiend decided to charge the lava, right? I decided not to charge back, so he's hitting on 5 every round. So he's chipping 1 damage, 2 damage, 1 damage the whole game. So let's see what happens. This purple star once again represents weaken, so this unit got weakened. So I dealt 11 damage from these 2 charges, and with Brutal is 12, so I only needed 4 to route it, and I wrote Snake Eyes. So I was already on the back foot, and when I wrote Snake Eyes here, that sort of sealed the game for me, sealed my fate, because these Phantoms were in rear charge of the Archfiend. So should I have killed it, I would be facing the front, at least it's just a front charge. But because it's rear charge, my Archfiend is pretty much toast. This lower Abyssals charge the Void Lurker, and so this Void Lurker was still around. And once again, I probably Blizzard this way and did nothing. So as expected, the Phantoms went rear charge and front charge, 60 attacks, killing it off, and then turning to face my unit. Yeah, the Void Lurker that's behind flew and picked up the token, the loot in the center. And this Void Lurker that was charged by the Abyssals, it just turned sideways and moved 10 inches out of my front arc. So I was like, oh, my slow little Abyssals can't really do much. And so at this point, it's pretty much game over. He even saw, which is really amazing, he even saw that my Gargoyles had a flank charge on Void Lurker, so he decided to weakness it. So I charged Basusu and Gargoyles, flank charge on the Void Lurker, but failed to route it. This lower Abyssals turn and walk this way, but staying within a flank, so at most the Butcher Flash Reaper will get a flank on me. This Tortured Souls decided to charge here because by charging this it will block more units, so I decided to block it. And then I was hoping that the Dice Gods have mercy on me. I did a Blizzard on this 11 wounded this Phantoms, and I got 1 hit which blasted into 5 hits, and I didn't roll a single 5, so oh, that was so painful. And on the bottom of his turn, he proceeded to kill the Gargoyles, but Susu can't pick up the token even if I managed to kill. His Butcher decided to pick up and started to march forward to be within the opponent half, because this is push. If you go into opponent half, it's 2 VP. I'm now at 1 VP. Yeah, he's at 3, so that's 1 VP here as well. And the other Void Lurker blocked my lower Abyssals from charging the one with the loot. And so we rolled a turn 7 and I went first, so I just decided to get as much points as possible, as if I was in a tournament, so I took off that dying unit. And in his turn, he did the same, so he did a flank surge maneuver on this lower Abyssals, plus a frontal charge from this Void Lurker, and took it off. So very strategic game, because at all times he has all his units guarded, and I have not very good options for charging. So very well played by Jeff, and I enjoyed it. It was quite a battle of wits. So let's talk about some takeaways. So first mistake I made in the game, I have weaker shooting. I need to position aggressively, and he played exactly how he should have by having superior shooting, which is I'm gonna shoot at you with my Spectres until you charge them, and I position everything else to kill you after you charge the Spectres. Right? So he used the terrain very smartly to protect his Void Lurker, the one at the start of the game where he's behind the rock, protecting his Spectres. So it's quite a traffic jam over there. Okay, I'm not sure on hindsight whether I should have, and he out-deployed me, so I'm not sure if it's even possible for me to deploy more heavily on the left side, and if that would have made a difference, because Spectres, they move 6 and, well, their basic range is 18. If they move, that means they at least hit on 5. So maybe I could have concentrated on the left side and hope that the shooting doesn't do as much. Well, and focus on scenario. Even when I was on the back foot, I was trying to find a way to win on scenario by suddenly focusing on the left, putting a lot of pressure on his loot token that's on the left side. So once again, try to look for charges that, so as I swung to the left side, I have found charges that kept me safe, because whether I route or not route, it will be at the spot that his Void Lurkers can't see me. So that was where I was aiming for. So I was always looking for such charges that I will be safe. It brings me to safety. Okay, beware of traffic jam after multiple charges. That's my Abyssal Horseman being killed after being sandwiched by his unit and mine. and beware of surge. So he did not surge much the entire game, but the threat was always there, which very heavily influenced my tactical decisions, whether I want to charge in or where I'm gonna reform, where I'm gonna face, who's gonna charge where, because I must always beware of flank surges. And lastly, Blizzard is very swingy. Like after turn 3, both our Blizzards did nothing for the entire game. We've both whiffed or dealt 0 damage. So for me, where my only shooting is Blizzard and Lightning Bolt, and Ashvin is gonna go into the fray. After that, I'm only relying on Blizzard doing work, and that's very iffy. So you have to beware of the chances you're taking when you're using Blizzard. And that's it. This game 2, definitely the toughest game I had so far, and very well played by Jeff, and the list did exactly what I thought it would do, and it provided me with a very big challenge that I was not able to overcome. He's definitely an awesome player, and we'll play again soon, probably when third ad drops. We'll get more games in. Thank you for the games, Jeff, and guys, if you enjoyed the video, do like the video and subscribe for more content, more Kings of War coming up.